The crystal chandelier cast fractured rainbows across the marble foyer, but Elena Vasquez only noticed the scuff marks her worn sneakers left on the pristine floor. She moved quickly, erasing every trace of her presence before the Constantine family's evening guests arrived. "You missed a spot." Elena's heart seized. She turned to find a little girl watching from the grand staircase, no more than 6, with dark curls and eyes that held far too much knowledge. "Miss Anya," Elena breathed. "You should be with your tutor." Miss Caroline fell asleep again. "She takes pills that make her tired." Anya descended with careful precision. "I don't think Papa knows." Elena's stomach tightened. Knowledge like that was dangerous in the Constantine household, the kind that got people disappeared. "Why do you always clean the same spot?" Anya settled onto the bottom step. "You're different from the other maids. You notice things." Before Elena could respond, screeching tires shattered the quiet. The gunshot came half a heartbeat later. Glass exploded inward. Elena's body moved on pure instinct, childhood reflexes from neighborhoods where gunfire was punctuation. She launched herself at Anya, wrapping her arms around the small body and twisting as another bullet whined through the space where the child's head had been. They hit marble hard. Elena felt something tear in her shoulder, hot and wrong, but kept moving, dragging Anya behind the staircase as the foyer erupted into chaos. Men in black suits materialized, weapons drawn. Shouts in Russian. Gunfire. The acrid smell of gunpowder mixed with hothouse flowers. Elena pressed Anya's face against her chest, muffling whimpers. Warm wetness spread across her shoulder, but the pain felt distant. Only the trembling child mattered. "Close your eyes," Elena whispered. "Count to 100. The shooting stopped as suddenly as it began. Heavy footsteps approached. Elena looked up to see a man who could only be Dmitri Constantine, tailored suit immaculate despite the violence, face carved from ice and fury. His pale eyes scanned the destruction until they locked onto where Elena sheltered his daughter. He crossed the distance in 4 strides and dropped to one knee. For a moment, something raw and terrified cracked through that frozen expression before disappearing. "Anya." His voice was surprisingly gentle, though his hands shook slightly. Anya launched herself at him. "Papa. Elena saved me." She flew like a superhero. Dimitri's eyes found Elena's over his daughter's head. She watched him process the blood, her blood, spreading across the floor. Watched calculation move behind those pale eyes. "You're hurt." "I'm fine," Elena lied, even as black spots danced at her vision's edges. "Miss Anya isn't injured. That's what matters." Something flickered across his face, surprised that a maid would speak to him directly, or perhaps that she'd prioritized his daughter without hesitation. "Alexei." A mountain of a man appeared. "Take Anya to the safe room. No one enters except me." As Alexei carried Anya away, the child craning her neck to keep Elena in sight, Dmitri turned his full attention to the woman bleeding on his floor. He moved closer. When he reached for her shoulder, she flinched. "I need to see the wound." His hands were surprisingly careful as they peeled back her blood-soaked uniform. The bullet had carved a furrow through her shoulder, painful but not fatal. "You could have died." Dimitri's voice went very quiet. "Why?" "She's not your child. This isn't your war." Elena met his eyes, refusing to look away. "She's a little girl. That's reason enough." For the first time, Dmitri Constantine smiled, a dangerous expression full of sharp edges and possibilities. "What's your name?" "Elena Vasquez, sir." How long have you worked here? 4 months. And in 4 months, you've learned where the blind spots are in my security. You noticed Miss Caroline's problem. You moved through this house like a ghost, seeing everything. He tilted his head. Why does someone with your observational skills waste them cleaning floors? Because women with my background don't get better options, Elena thought. Because I have a sister with leukemia and medical bills that devour every penny. But she said nothing, and Dimitri's smile sharpened. We're going to have a very interesting conversation. He stood, offering his hand. After we've dealt with your shoulder and the men who dared attack my home. Elena stared at his outstretched hand, pale, immaculate, weighted with a platinum watch worth more than she'd earn in 5 years. Taking it felt like stepping off a cliff. The smart choice was to refuse. To disappear before she got dragged deeper into this world. But smart choices didn't pay for chemotherapy. Elena placed her blood-stained hand in his. The moment their skin touched, something electric passed between them, recognition of two people who understood survival at any cost. Dimitri pulled her to her feet with surprising gentleness, steadying her when she swayed. Welcome to the family, Elena Vasquez, he said softly. Something tells me you're going to change everything. Outside, sirens wailed. Inside, Elena felt her entire life pivot on a single moment of instinct and courage. She just didn't know yet whether she'd been saved or damned. What would you have done in Elena's position, taken his hand, or walked away? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. The private medical facility occupied Constantine Tower's top floor, a fully equipped hospital suite disguised behind frosted glass and brushed steel, where discretion mattered more than credentials. Dr. Petrov worked in silence, cleaning Elena's wound. He asked no questions, which told her everything about the kind of doctor who worked for the Constantine family. Dmitri stood by the windows, speaking rapid Russian into his phone. His reflection was motionless, but fury radiated from him like heat. You're lucky, Dr. Petrov murmured. 2 inches right, you'd have bled out. I don't feel lucky. Elena winced as he tightened the bandage. You're alive. In this world, that's the only luck that matters. He nodded to Dmitri. She needs rest. The wound will heal cleanly if she doesn't strain it. After the doctor left, Dmitri turned. Your file says you're 26. Born in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Immigrated at 16 with your mother and sister. Mother deceased, cancer. Sister Isabella, 22, undergoing treatment for leukemia at Metropolitan General. He paused. You work 3 jobs. Send 90% of your income to cover Isabella's treatments. Elena's chest tightened. You investigated me. I investigate everyone. He sat, bringing himself to eye level. But I didn't know what you were capable of until today. Tell me about Sao Paulo. There's nothing to tell. Liar. Nobody moves like you did without training or experience. You assessed the threat and executed a protection maneuver in 2 seconds. That's not instinct alone. Memories clawed to the surface, narrow alleys, gunfire between gangs, learning to read danger in a man's posture. I grew up in Paraisópolis, she said finally. One of the largest favelas. You learn to recognize violence before it happens, or you don't survive. And your father? Dead. Police killed him during a raid when I was 12. Wrong place, wrong time. My mother worked herself to death getting us out. She managed it just before cancer took her. And now you're working yourself to death for your sister. She's all I have left. Dmitri studied her. I can pay for Isabella's treatment. Best oncologists, experimental therapies, private care. I can make her comfortable. Elena's heart lurched. What do you want in return? Your honesty. He stood, pacing. Someone tried to kill Anya today. Not me, Anya. They know my vulnerabilities. I have a leak in my organization. What does this have to do with me? You notice things. In 4 months, you've mapped this household better than my security team. You know which guards take bribes, that Miss Caroline is selling medications, that my head of security meets my rival's driver every Thursday in Brighton Beach. Elena's stomach dropped. She'd thought she'd been invisible. I don't spy. I just pay attention. Exactly. Dimitri moved closer. I need someone who pays attention. Someone invisible, someone my enemies won't see as a threat. Someone who'd take a bullet for my daughter without hesitation. You want me to spy? I want you to be Anya's bodyguard and companion. Officially, her personal attendant. Unofficially, my eyes and ears while I root out the traitor. I have no training. You have something better. Heart. You proved that today. Training I can provide. Loyalty can't be bought or taught. And if I refuse? I pay for Isabella's treatment anyway. You return to your jobs and pretend this never happened. He paused. But we both know you won't refuse. Elena recognized the truth. This was her chance to save Isabella without destroying herself. What happened to Anya's mother? Pain flashed across Dimitri's face. Victoria died when Anya was 2. Car accident. But Elena caught the lie in his eyes. Not an accident. Another victim of his world. Anya must miss her. Anya barely remembers her. She's had a parade of nannies, none lasted 6 months. She's difficult. Brilliant, sees through pretenses. Most adults find her unsettling. She's lonely. Yes. The admission cost him. I've given her everything, but I can't give her normalcy. Can't give her a childhood free from knowing what her father is. Elena saw past the ice to the man beneath. A father who loved desperately but didn't know how to reach his daughter. If I do this, I have conditions. Dimitri raised an eyebrow. You're negotiating? I won't lie to Anya. I won't pretend to care as a cover story. If I'm part of her life, it's real, or I walk. Anything else? I see Isabella twice weekly, minimum. And you protect her. If your enemies know about Anya, they might know about her. Dimitri's expression shifted, surprise, respect, admiration. Done. Isabella transfers to a private facility under an assumed name, with security. You visit whenever you wish. He extended his hand. Agreement? Elena understood what she was accepting, a world of shadows and violence, binding herself to a man whose enemies murdered children. Everything her mother dreamed of was evaporating. But Isabella would live. And maybe she could protect a little girl who reminded her of herself. She clasped his hand. Agreement. An hour later, Elena stood in her new quarters, larger than her entire apartment. Plush carpet, king bed, heated bathroom floors. Designer clothes in her size filled the closet. A knock interrupted her examination. Anya slipped through the door, barefoot, looking fragile. Are you really staying? Her voice was tiny. Elena knelt, ignoring her shoulder's protest. I'm really staying. If that's okay. Most people leave. Anya studied the carpet. They say I'm creepy. That I stare too much. I think you're observant. There's a difference. Anya's head snapped up, searching Elena's face. Finding no deception, she stepped closer. Why did you save me? You don't know me. Because everyone deserves protection. Especially little girls who've seen too much and had too many people leave. Anya launched herself forward, arms wrapping around Elena's neck. Elena caught her, holding tight despite the pain. I'm glad you took the bullet, Anya whispered. I know that's bad, but I'm glad it was you and not gone. Elena's throat tightened. She understood, the terror of losing another person, the fear of being alone. I'm not going anywhere, Elena promised. A throat cleared. Dmitri stood watching, naked emotion on his face, hope, fear, longing. Then the mask returned. Anya, bedtime. But Papa? Elena will be here tomorrow. And every morning after. At the door, Anya turned. Will you have breakfast with me? Miss Caroline always eats alone. I'd love to. After Anya left, Dmitri lingered. She hasn't hugged anyone since Victoria died. She's been waiting for someone worth hugging. He moved closer. The room felt intimate, private. His fingers ghosted along her bandaged shoulder. You could have died today, he said quietly. What happened wasn't random. Someone wants to hurt me by destroying what I love most. That target is now on your back. I know. And you're not afraid? Elena thought of Isabella's bills, the favela where she'd learned to sleep through gunfire, her mother's final words, protect your sister. Whatever it costs. I've been afraid every day of my life, she said. At least now I'm afraid for something that matters. Dimitri's eyes searched hers. Something shifted between them, recognition of two people forged by violence, bound by shared determination to protect those they loved. Get some rest, he said finally. Tomorrow, your real education begins. After he left, Elena stood at the window. Somewhere, Isabella slept in a hospital bed. Somewhere closer, Anya lay awake, testing whether this new person would disappear. And somewhere in this dangerous world, an enemy was planning their next move. Elena touched her bandaged shoulder, remembering the split-second decision that changed everything. She'd taken a bullet for a child she barely knew. Now she had to survive the war that was coming. Elena woke to darkness and a hand covering her mouth. Her body reacted instantly, knee driving upward, elbow swinging back. She connected with something solid. Easy, tigress. Dimitri's voice, amused despite the pain. It's me. Elena fumbled for the lamp. Dimitri stood in dark tactical gear, a purple bruise forming on his jaw. What the hell? What time is it? 4:30. Good instincts, most people freeze. You fight. He pulled black athletic wear from her closet. Your education begins. 5 minutes. Elena dressed quickly. When she emerged, Dimitri was checking his phone. The men who attacked yesterday were hired through a Brooklyn broker. 50,000 each to send a message, not to succeed, just frighten. That's a lot of money for a message. Which tells us whoever ordered it has resources and is testing my defenses. That makes the next few weeks critical. He led her to a hidden elevator behind a linen closet panel. The descent seemed endless. Where are we going? Somewhere only 3 people know about. Now 4. The elevator opened onto an underground facility, training mats, weapons racks, surveillance equipment, a shooting range. Welcome to my real office, Dmitri said. A scarred, compact man emerged from shadows. Elena Vasquez, meet Nikolai Volkov. My head of security and oldest friend. Nikolai's eyes assessed her clinically. She's small. She's fast. And has instincts. Dmitri gestured. Show him what you did to me. Elena demonstrated the knee-elbow combination. Nikolai grunted approval. Favela training? Survival training. Same thing. You have muscle memory, but it's undisciplined. Raw. He circled her. We'll refine it. For 3 hours, Nikolai drilled her relentlessly, defensive stances, using attackers' momentum, pressure points. Her wounded shoulder screamed, but she pushed through. Stop thinking, start reacting, Nikolai barked. In real fights, calculation kills you. He came at her again. This time Elena felt his weight shift, sensed the opening, moved. Her hands found position, twisted, suddenly Nikolai was on his knees, arm locked. Better. Much better. When Dmitri called a break, Elena collapsed, trembling. You did well. He handed her water and a protein bar. I feel like I've been hit by a truck. That's tomorrow's lesson. At her alarm, he smiled. Joke. Mostly. How long do I have to do this? Every morning, 5 days a week. Weekends, surveillance, threat assessment, fieldcraft. I thought I was just watching and reporting. You are. But you need to know what you're watching for. He sat close. People in my world smile while planning your murder. You need to recognize the signs. Is that how Anya's mother died? Someone smiling while they planned? Dimitri's jaw tightened. Victoria was killed by someone I trusted. Someone who sat at my table, held my daughter. I didn't see it coming. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be vigilant. He stood abruptly. There's something you need to see. He pulled up yesterday's security footage, pausing on the shooting. The shooter wasn't aiming for Anya. Elena leaned closer. What? Watch the trajectory. First shot deliberately high. The second, the one that hit you, was aimed at an adult center mass. They wanted to kill her protector, isolate her for a second attempt. But why target her at all? Because Anya is my only weakness. His voice was raw. I've built an empire on being untouchable. But for my daughter, I'd burn the world. My enemies know this. Who do you suspect? 3 possibilities. Viktor Morozov, my former partner, now rival. Alexei Sokolov, Victoria's brother, who blames me for her death. And someone inside my organization who knows our protocols, Anya's schedule. He pulled up personnel files. 12 people have access to Anya, including you. One is either a traitor or dangerously incompetent. How do I know you're not setting me up? Using me as bait? That's exactly what I'm doing. Elena's stomach dropped. But not how you think. You're new, unknown to my enemies. They'll dismiss you as temporary, not worth attention. That makes you dangerous, a wild card they won't see coming. And if they notice me? Nikolai will have taught you to survive until backup arrives. He moved closer, fingers brushing her cheek. This is dangerous. You could die. But I believe you're smart enough and motivated enough to survive. Not because of Isabella, because of who you are. Elena's breath caught. This close, she could see silver flecks in his pale eyes. Dmitri. What happens when you find your traitor? His expression hardened. They die. Painfully. A door opened. Anya appeared in pajamas, Maria apologizing behind her. I'm sorry, Mr. Constantine. She woke and insisted. It's fine, Maria. Dimitri's demeanor shifted instantly. He scooped Anya up. What are you doing awake? I had a bad dream. About Elena disappearing like Mama. Elena touched Anya's foot. I'm right here. Not going anywhere. Promise? I promise. Anya reached for Elena, who held her close despite exhausted muscles. Why don't we all have breakfast together? Dimitri suggested. As they headed for the elevator, Elena realized something had shifted. She wasn't just an employee anymore. She was part of something, a makeshift family bound by danger and growing trust. And somewhere in that realization, in Anya's trust and Dimitri's intensity, Elena felt something dangerous stirring. Something that felt alarmingly like hope. After breakfast, where Dimitri showed surprising tenderness and Anya invited Elena to her Saturday recital, Dimitri walked Elena back to her room. At her door, he paused. Get rest. Nikolai comes again tomorrow. I should spend time with Anya today. This afternoon. This morning, recover. His hand squeezed her shoulder. You're no good to anyone exhausted. Is that concern? A smile ghosted across his face. Pragmatism. You're an investment. But his eyes said different. There's something else. Tonight, dinner party. 12 guests from my organization. You'll attend as Anya's companion. Watch how they interact with her. Trust your instincts. After he left, Elena stood at her window. Somewhere, Isabella was being transferred. Somewhere closer, an enemy was planning. And here, Elena was becoming something she'd never imagined, protector, spy, and someone starting to care about the ice-cold man and his lonely daughter. She touched her bandaged shoulder. One bullet had changed everything. She wondered how many more she'd have to dodge. The dress hanging in Elena's closet was a weapon disguised as elegance, midnight blue silk, heels low enough to run in, hairpins that could double as lockpicks. Every detail chosen with purpose. Elena stared at her reflection. In the favela, she'd learned to be invisible. Now Dimitri wanted her visible in a different way. A wolf in sheep's clothing. You look beautiful. Anya stood in the doorway, wearing white with pink ribbons. You look beautiful too, Elena said, adjusting a ribbon. Ready for the party? I hate these parties. Anya's voice was flat. Everyone pretends to like me because they're afraid of Papa. Then they say I'm strange, that I stare too much. Her eyes met Elena's. Am I broken? No, sweetheart. You're different. And different scares people who don't understand it. Does it scare you? Not even a little bit. A knock interrupted them. Dimitri entered in a tailored black suit, pale eyes softening when they landed on his daughter. My two favorite ladies, he said, offering his arms. Shall we? The dining room had been transformed, crystal chandeliers, white roses, 12 guests in designer clothes and practiced smiles. Elena's training kicked in, cataloging faces. Viktor Morozov, late 50s, silver-haired, Dimitri's former partner turned rival. He watched with barely concealed calculation. Alexei Sokolov, mid-40s, handsome and dangerous, with Victoria's dark eyes. His attention fixed on Anya with unsettling intensity. Irina Volkova, early 30s, stunning in emerald, head of money laundering operations. She laughed too loudly, eyes constantly scanning. I'd like to introduce Elena Vasquez, Dmitri announced, his hand settling on Elena's lower back. Anya's new companion and trusted member of our household. The temperature dropped 10 degrees. Victor raised his glass. Another temporary fixture. How long do you think you'll last? As long as Anya needs me, Elena replied evenly. Brave words. The last 3 didn't make it past 6 months. Only when they're not properly understood, Elena countered. Fortunately, understanding people is something I'm quite good at. The room's attention sharpened, reassessing her. Alexei approached. You're the maid who took a bullet. Quite the promotion. I prefer career redirection. Heroism has its rewards. His gaze flickered to Anya. Though I wonder what price comes with them. Uncle Alexei, Anya said carefully. You haven't visited in 3 months. I've been busy, little one. Papa says you blame him for Mama's death. Silence descended. Dmitri tensed but didn't intervene. Alexei's mask cracked. Your father and I have complicated history. That's not a denial, Anya observed. Anya. Dmitri's voice held gentle warning. Why don't you show Elena the library? In the library, Anya collapsed onto a sofa. I shouldn't have said that. Why did you? Because he was lying. His hands were shaking. People's hands shake when they're planning something bad. Anya looked up. Do you think Uncle Alexei wants to hurt Papa? Elena considered lying, but Anya deserved honesty. I think your uncle is in pain. Sometimes pain makes people do things they shouldn't. Will you hurt me? Leave me? Die like Mama? Anya's voice cracked. Elena pulled her close. I'll do everything in my power to stay alive and stay here. That's a promise. But you can't promise you won't die. No one can. But I promise I'll fight like hell. Tears spilled down Anya's cheeks. Everyone who loves me dies or leaves. Then I'm going to break that pattern. A sound made them turn. Irina stood watching. Dinner is served, she said coolly. As they walked back, Irina fell into step beside Elena. You're either very brave or very stupid, attaching yourself to that child. I don't see how that's your concern. Everything here is my concern. I've worked for Dmitri 8 years. You've been here 5 months and suddenly you're at his right hand because you threw yourself in front of a bullet. Jealousy doesn't suit you. I'm warning you. Dmitri doesn't do relationships, he has transactions. The moment you're not useful, you'll disappear like all the others. They re-entered to find guests seated. Dmitri had positioned Elena between himself and Anya. Across the table, Victor watched with calculating eyes while Alexei's hands trembled. Dinner was psychological warfare. Victor made pointed comments about loyalty. Alexei drank heavily. Irina flirted strategically. Elena watched everything, Victor's assistant glancing at Anya with pity, Alexei's partner Mikhail constantly checking his phone, Irina's desperate laughter. Ms. Vasquez, Victor cut through conversation. You're from Paraisopolis favela, if I'm not mistaken. Elena's blood chilled. That wasn't in any official record. How did he know? You've done your research. I always do. A favela girl turned maid turned, what exactly? Bodyguard? Mistress? Victor. Dmitri's voice could freeze fire. You're testing my patience. Tell me, What does a girl from the slums know about protecting someone from enemies like ours? I know the deadliest threats come from those closest to us, Elena replied. I know expensive suits hide poisonous intentions. And I know underestimating someone because of where they're from is a fatal mistake. Silence. Then Victor's forced laugh. Brave words. Dimitri's hand found Elena's under the table, squeezing. After dinner, Elena excused herself, taking the long route to observe. At the East Wing entrance, she noticed something wrong. The usual guard had been replaced by someone she didn't recognize. In the restroom, Irina entered, clearly drunk. You don't belong here. You're not one of us. Neither were you once. I clawed my way up. Slept with the right people, proved my worth in blood. You think one bullet makes you special? I think I'm necessary. You're a romantic. You see a man worth saving. But Dimitri isn't broken, he's exactly what he was made to be. A killer wearing a father's face. Irina's eyes glistened. I was you once. Young, brave, stupid enough to believe love could exist here. It can't. It gets burned out until all that's left is survival. She stumbled to the door. He'll hurt you. When he does, you'll have two choices, become like us, or die. There is no third option. After she left, Elena stared at her reflection. Was Irina right? A hand covered her mouth, yanking her into the supply closet. Elena's training kicked in, elbow back, spin. Dimitri caught her wrists. It's me. What the hell? That's twice. I needed to get you alone. The cramped space forced intimacy. What did you observe? Elena's heart hammered. Victor knows things he shouldn't about my background. Alexei's grief seems real, not calculated. Irina warned me away, but I can't tell why. And there's an unfamiliar guard at the East Wing entrance. Dimitri's jaw clenched. Describe him. She did. That's Mikhail's nephew. He shouldn't be here. He typed rapidly. Nikolai, we have a breach. Detain him quietly. He focused on Elena. You did well. Victor tried to rattle you and you shut him down. Or stupidity. Sometimes they're the same. His hand tucked hair behind her ear. What did Irina say? That you'll hurt me. That love doesn't exist in your world. That I should run. She's not wrong. Elena's breath caught. Which part? All of it. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I will hurt you, Elena. This life destroys everything good. Irina learned that. She came young and idealistic. Look what I made her into. I'm not Irina. No. You're stronger. Which makes you dangerous, to my enemies and to me. Why dangerous to you? Because you make me want things I gave up. Hope. Redemption. The possibility that monsters can become men again. Tension crackled between them. Dimitri. I know. This is a terrible idea. Getting involved would complicate everything. Then why are you still touching me? Because I'm weak when it comes to you. Because when I saw you bleeding, something broke. Because Anya lights up around you in a way she hasn't since Victoria, and I'm terrified of losing that. Losing you. Elena's hands pressed against his chest. I'm not going anywhere. When you understand what I've done, you'll run. I grew up in a favela. I've seen violence. You don't scare me. I should. You want to know what I see? A man who reads bedtime stories. Who memorizes his daughter's favorites? Who's building an empire to give one little girl the world? She rose on her toes. Yes, I see the killer too. But those things don't cancel out. They make you complicated. This is a mistake. Probably. Stop assuming the worst. In my world, that keeps you alive. Then maybe it's time you lived in a different world. She closed the distance. The kiss was hunger and desperation. His hands tightened on her waist while hers fisted in his shirt. When they broke apart, breathless, he whispered, "This changes everything." I know. A crash from the hallway made them freeze. They emerged to chaos. Nikolai appeared, grim. The guard, Mikhail's nephew, he's dead. Poisoned 30 minutes ago. Mikhail is gone. Left 5 minutes after dinner. Dmitri's face went cold. Find him. There's more. Anya's room was breached. Elena's heart stopped. Is she safe? I moved her to the panic room. But whoever got in left something. He held up a photograph. Isabella in her hospital bed, asleep, vulnerable. Someone had been close enough to hurt her. On the back, next time, we won't miss. Double security on Isabella, Dmitri ordered. Move her, different facility, new identity. No one gets near her. Elena couldn't breathe. This was her fault. Look at me. Dmitri framed her face. Isabella is safe. I will keep her safe. This is a scare tactic. They're trying to break you. It's working. No. It's making you stronger. Now you know what's at stake. Who we're fighting. Who? Mikhail. He's been Victor's man, feeding information. The nephew was collateral damage. Elena found her resolve. What do? We hunt. And when we find them, we remind everyone why it's a mistake to threaten a Constantine. They'd crossed a line, professional, emotional, dangerous. No going back. Come. Anya will be frightened. As they moved through hallways transforming into a fortress, Elena realized Irina had been right. Love didn't exist in Dmitri's world. But maybe they could build a new one. Where broken people found redemption. Or die trying. The panic room was a vault disguised as a bedroom, steel-reinforced walls behind cheerful wallpaper, ventilation that could filter chemical weapons, supplies for a month. Anya sat on the bed clutching a stuffed rabbit, pale but composed. The moment she saw Elena, that composure shattered. Elena. She launched across the room, and Elena caught her despite her wounded shoulder's protest. I'm here, sweetheart. I'm right here. They were in my room. I heard them. I pressed the button like Papa taught me and the walls closed, but I was so scared. You did exactly right. You were so brave. Dmitri entered, and Anya reached for him. He cradled his daughter with tenderness that made Elena's heart ache. We're staying here tonight, he said quietly. All 3 of us. No one can get in without blowing through 3 feet of reinforced steel. Nikolai appeared, expression grim. We found Mikhail's car. Abandoned near the docks, wiped clean. But we caught someone trying to breach Isabella's new facility. Elena's world tilted. Is she? She's fine. Security stopped them. But Nikolai pulled up a photo. The person we caught is someone you know. Elena's blood turned to ice. Carlos Mendez. Her mother's boyfriend from Sao Paulo. The man who'd helped them escape Brazil. No, she whispered. That's not possible. He was carrying potassium chloride. Untraceable, looks like a heart attack. He was going to kill your sister. The room spun. Dimitri's hand steadied her. He's been on Victor's payroll for years, Nikolai continued. Since before you left Brazil. Victor's been playing the long game, planting people in your life, waiting to activate them. Elena felt sick. Everything was orchestrated. My escape, my job here, all of it. Not all of it, Dimitri said firmly. Your courage, your love for Anya, that's real. Victor may have opened doors, but you walked through them on your own terms. I want to see him, Elena said coldly. Carlos. I want to hear him say it. 10 minutes later, she stood before the man who'd betrayed her family. Carlos was zip-tied to a chair, looking older than she remembered. Elenita, he said softly. I'm sorry. Tell me everything, or I let Dimitri do what he does best. Carlos broke. The words poured out, Victor's recruitment years ago, feeding information. Tonight's attack on Isabella meant to break Elena completely. Victor's planning something big, Carlos revealed. Tomorrow night at Anya's recital. He's not trying to kill her, he wants to take her. Ransom her for Dimitri's complete surrender. Who's helping him inside my organization? Dimitri's voice was deadly quiet. Carlos hesitated. Irina Volkova. Victor promised her your empire if she helped destroy you. She's been feeding him information for 6 months, positioning herself as your most trusted lieutenant while systematically betraying you. The revelation hit like a physical blow. Irina. The woman who'd warned Elena away, who'd worked beside Dimitri for 8 years. Where is she now? Making her move. She's draining your accounts as we speak. 50 million and counting. Dimitri checked his phone, face going white. He's right. The transfers started 20 minutes ago. It's a trap, Nikolai warned. She wants you to come after her. Victor will be waiting. Good. Dimitri's expression was murder incarnate. I'm tired of playing defense. He turned to Elena. I need you to stay here with Anya. No. Elena moved closer. Victor used my family, tried to kill Isabella, manipulated my entire life. This is my fight too. Dimitri cupped her face. If something happens to you. It won't. We end this together. Tonight. He kissed her then, hard and desperate, a promise and plea wrapped together. When they pulled apart, his pale eyes held something she'd never seen before. Fear. When this is over, he said quietly, we leave. All of us. Let the empire burn. I choose you. I choose Anya. I choose life over power. Elena's throat tightened. Then let's make sure we survive to have that life. As they armed themselves and coordinated with Dimitri's remaining loyal men, Elena felt the weight of what was coming. Tonight would change everything. They would either destroy their enemies or be destroyed trying. There was no middle ground left. Irina's penthouse was dark when they arrived, too dark, too quiet. Every instinct screamed trap, but Dimitri moved forward, Nikolai and 4 armed men flanking him. Elena stayed close, her new Glock heavy in her hand. They breached simultaneously, clearing rooms with military precision. Empty. Every room cleared, but no sign of Irina. She's gone, Nikolai confirmed. Cleared out hours ago. Dimitri's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered on speaker. Viktor Morozov's cultured voice filled the silence. Good evening, Dmitri. I trust you've discovered my gift by now? Where's Irina? Safe. Celebrating. Did you know your accounts are completely empty? Every offshore holding, every legitimate business, every safe house, all transferred to entities I control. You're finished, old friend. I'll find you. No, you won't. Because right now, my men are at the location where you think Anya is safe. You have a choice, come after me, or save your daughter. You can't do both. The call ended. Dmitri's face went ashen. He dialed the panic room. No answer. Again. Nothing. It's a bluff, Nikolai said, voice lacking conviction. The panic room is impenetrable. Unless someone gave them the codes. Dmitri was already running. Irina had full access. The drive back was a nightmare of traffic and terror. Elena gripped the dashboard, heart hammering. They'd left Anya with 2 guards, but if Irina had betrayed them completely. They arrived to chaos. The guards were unconscious, alive but drugged. The panic room door stood open, sophisticated locks bypassed. Inside, the room was empty. Anya was gone. Dmitri made a sound Elena had never heard from him, something between a roar and a sob. He tore through the room, searching for any sign, his control shattering completely. No, 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 his hands shook as he checked every corner, every hiding spot. Anya. Elena's own panic threatened to overwhelm her, but she forced herself to think. There has to be a clue. They wouldn't take her without leaving some way for you to respond. Nikolai found it, a phone, placed deliberately on the bed. A video was cued. They watched in horror as footage showed Anya being carried from the building by masked men. She was fighting, screaming for her father, but they sedated her within seconds. The video ended with a message. Pier 19. Midnight. Come alone, or she dies. Bring the deeds to all remaining properties. Sign everything over, and you get her back. Dmitri checked his watch. 10:47 p.m. Just over an hour. It's a death trap, Nikolai said. The moment you sign, they'll kill you both. Viktor doesn't leave loose ends. I don't care. Dmitri's voice was hollow. Gather whatever documents he wants. I'm going. Then we're coming with you, Elena said. No. Yes. Elena grabbed his face, forcing him to look at her. You taught me to fight. You taught me to survive. Now let me help you save her. We do this together, or we don't do it at all. Something in her words penetrated his panic. Dmitri pulled her close, burying his face in her hair. I can't lose both of you. I can't. You won't. We're smarter than Viktor. We're more motivated. And we have something he doesn't. What? Everything to lose. That makes us dangerous. Nikolai was already mobilizing resources. I can get 12 men in position around Pier 19 within 40 minutes. Snipers on surrounding buildings, assault team ready to breach. But Dmitri, you have to give us the signal. We can't move until we know Anya's location and condition. What if they search me? Find a wire? They will, Elena said slowly, an idea forming. Which is why you're not wearing the wire. I am. Both men stared at her. I go in as your lover, the desperate woman who refused to let you face this alone. Viktor doesn't know how much I've learned. He thinks I'm just the favela girl who got lucky. He'll underestimate me. Absolutely not, Dmitri said. It's our best chance. I can wear the tracker and wire where they won't search. Women's clothing has advantages. If I can get close enough to Anya, I can signal Nikolai before they execute whatever plan Victor has. You could die. So could you. So could Anya if we don't try. Elena's hands fisted in his shirt. I took a bullet for her once. I'll do it again if I have to. The look Dmitri gave her held agony and admiration and something deeper, something that looked like love. If we survive this, he said quietly, I'm never letting you go. Good. I'm not planning on leaving. They had 45 minutes to plan an impossible rescue. As they drove toward Pier 19, Elena checked her concealed wire one last time. The tracker was sewn into her bra, the microphone hidden in her necklace. She looked like any woman desperate to save the man she loved. Which, she realized with startling clarity, wasn't far from the truth. Somewhere in the chaos of bullets and betrayal, she'd fallen for Dmitri Konstantin. For the broken man behind the monster's mask. For the father who'd choose his daughter over his empire. Now she just had to make sure they all lived long enough for that choice to matter. The pier loomed ahead, dark water lapping against rotting wood. A single light illuminated the end where 3 figures waited. Viktor Morozov stood in the center, silver hair gleaming. Irina flanked him, expression triumphant. And on the other side, held by a massive man with a gun to her head, was Anya. Elena's blood ran cold. The little girl was awake but clearly drugged, swaying, dark eyes unfocused. Show time, Dmitri murmured, squeezing Elena's hand once before letting go. They walked into the trap together. Victor's smile was venomous as they approached. Dmitri. How kind of you to arrive on time. And you brought your little pet. How touching. Let Anya go, Dmitri said, voice eerily calm. I have what you want. The documents? Dmitri held up a briefcase. Every property, every account still in my name. Sign them over, and you control what's left of my empire. What's left being the operative phrase. Victor laughed. By morning, you'll own nothing but the clothes on your back. How does it feel, old friend? To be destroyed so completely? It feels like freedom. Dmitri's words surprised everyone, including Victor. You think you're taking everything from me, but you're wrong. You're giving me back what matters. He looked at Anya, then at Elena. Them. They're all I need. How disgustingly sentimental. Irina's voice was acid. This is why you were always weak, Dmitri. You let emotions cloud judgment. Your love for Victoria got her killed. Your love for Anya makes you controllable. And your pathetic infatuation with this favela trash, she gestured dismissively at Elena, will be your final undoing. Elena felt Dmitri tense beside her, but she squeezed his hand. Stay calm. Stay focused. The documents, Victor demanded. Dmitri moved forward slowly, setting the briefcase down. Victor's man grabbed it, checking contents. They're legitimate, the man confirmed. Excellent. Now, one more thing. Victor's eyes glittered. Kneel. What? I want you to kneel before me, Dmitri Konstantin. Bow your head and acknowledge I've beaten you. Do that, and Anya lives. Refuse, and I put a bullet in her brain right now. Elena watched Dmitri's face, saw the war raging behind his eyes. Every instinct, every ounce of pride, rebelled against the humiliation Victor demanded. But then Anya whimpered, and Dmitri's decision was made. He dropped to his knees. The sight of the powerful man brought low should have satisfied Victor, but something in Dimitri's expression made the older man hesitate. "You think this breaks me?" Dimitri said quietly. "I've kneeled before. At Victoria's grave. At Anya's bedside when she had pneumonia at 3, and I prayed to a God I didn't believe in to spare her. Kneeling for my daughter's life isn't humiliation, it's honor." "Enough philosophy." Victor pulled out his gun. "Unfortunately, I lied. Anya doesn't get to live. Neither do you. Your empire, your legacy, your bloodline, all of it ends tonight." He aimed at Anya. Everything happened at once. Elena moved without thinking, her body remembering Nikolai's training. She grabbed Dimitri's ankle holster, he'd shown her its location in the car, and fired. Not at Victor. At the light. Darkness swallowed the pier as the bulb shattered. Gunfire erupted. Elena threw herself toward Anya's location, praying her memory of the layout was accurate. Her hands found small arms, a drugged body. "Got you," she gasped, pulling Anya down as bullets whined overhead. "Elena?" Anya's voice was slurred but conscious. "You came. Always, sweetheart. Always." Dimitri's voice cut through chaos. "Now." The pier exploded with movement. Nikolai's team had been positioned in the water beneath the dock, using rebreathers, waiting for the signal. They surged up through gaps in wooden planks, catching Victor's men by surprise. Elena dragged Anya toward the edge, looking for escape. Behind them, she heard Dimitri and Victor engaged in brutal close combat, fists and fury and decades of hatred. Irina appeared from darkness, gun raised. "You ruined everything. This was supposed to be my empire." "It was never going to be yours," Elena said, positioning herself between Irina and Anya. "Victor would have killed you the moment you were no longer useful. You're not a partner, you're a tool." Rage twisted Irina's beautiful face. "Better a tool than a whore." She pulled the trigger. Pain exploded through Elena's side. She felt the impact, felt herself falling, but somehow stayed on her feet long enough to see Nikolai's bullet catch Irina's center mass. The woman who'd betrayed them all fell without another word. Elena collapsed, hands pressed to her bleeding side. Above her, Anya screamed, a sound of pure terror that cut through the drugged haze. "Stay down," Elena gasped. "Stay down, sweetheart." Then Dimitri was there, his hands on her wound, applying pressure. "No. No, Elena, stay with me. Anya. She's safe. Nikolai has her. Stay with me." Elena's vision swam. She could hear sirens. Nikolai must have called the authorities. Could hear Victor's voice raised in defeat as he was subdued. "Did we win?" she whispered. "Yes." Dimitri's voice broke. "Yes, we won. Now stay awake." "That's an order." "Bossy," Elena managed, then darkness took her. 3 days later, Elena woke to sterile hospital smell and someone holding her hand. She opened her eyes to find Dimitri in the chair beside her bed, head bowed, thumb tracing circles on her palm. He looked terrible, hair disheveled, suit ruined, dark circles under his eyes. "How long?" she croaked. His head snapped up. "Elena." "Thank God." 3 days. You've been unconscious for 3 days. Anya? Safe. Physically unharmed. The sedatives are out of her system. She's... His voice cracked. She hasn't left the waiting room. She insists on being here when you wake up. And Victor? Federal custody. Between the evidence we provided and Carlos's testimony, he's facing 20 consecutive life sentences. Irina's dead. Mikhail turned himself in and is testifying against the entire operation. Dmitri's smile was grim. It's over. Really over. Elena tried to sit up and gasped at pain in her side. Easy. Dmitri helped her, adjusting the bed. The bullet missed everything vital, but you lost a lot of blood. The doctors said if I hadn't applied pressure when I did, you wouldn't have made it. Guess we're even now. I took a bullet for Anya, you saved me from bleeding out. Not even close to even. Dmitri's hand cupped her face with infinite gentleness. You saved my daughter. Twice. You saved my life by showing me there was still something worth living for beyond revenge and power. I can never repay that debt. I don't want repayment. Elena covered his hand with hers. I just want. The door burst open and Anya rushed in, followed by a protesting nurse. Elena. The little girl carefully climbed onto the bed, mindful of tubes and wires, and burrowed against Elena's good side. You're awake. You're finally awake. Hey, sweetheart. Elena wrapped her arm around Anya, breathing in the scent of her shampoo, something clean and innocent in a world that had been anything but. I'm okay. We're all okay. You got shot again. Anya's voice was muffled. Because of me. Again. Not because of you. To protect you. There's a difference. But what if next time? There won't be a next time, Dmitri said firmly. He moved to sit on the bed's edge, completing their small circle. Victor's locked away forever. His organization is dismantled. And we're leaving, all three of us. Starting over somewhere safe. Where? Anya asked. Wherever Elena wants. Dmitri's eyes found Elena's. I meant what I said on the pier. The empire, the power, the money, none of it matters anymore. I have everything I need right here. Elena's throat tightened. What about Isabella? Already arranged. She's being transferred to a private facility in Switzerland, best oncology department in the world. Round-the-clock care, experimental treatments if needed. He pulled out his phone, showing footage. She's awake. Strong. The doctors say she's responding better than expected. The video showed Isabella sitting up in bed, smiling at the camera, color in her cheeks that hadn't been there in months. Elena's vision blurred with tears. How? The treatments Victor's money paid for, ironically. The accounts we seized included funds he'd stolen from dozens of sources. The federal government is allowing us to use a portion for Isabella's care as compensation for your assistance in bringing him down. Dmitri set the phone aside. She knows you're okay. She's waiting for you to be well enough to visit. And then what? We just leave? Start over like none of this happened? We start over acknowledging everything that happened. The scars we carry. The prices we paid. Dmitri's hand found hers again. But we start over together. If you'll have us. Elena looked at the man who'd been a monster when she met him, who'd become something infinitely more complicated, broken and brutal and capable of profound love. She looked at Anya, the too smart girl who'd lived through horrors but somehow retained her capacity for joy. This strange, damaged family that had formed in the crucible of violence and betrayal. Yes, she said simply. Yes, I'll have you. Both of you. Anya squealed, hugging her tighter. Dmitri leaned in and kissed Elena with a gentleness that belied everything he'd been, everything he'd done. When they finally pulled apart, Elena asked, "Where will we go?" "I was thinking somewhere warm," Dmitri said. "Mediterranean, perhaps. Small villa overlooking the ocean. Quiet. Safe. Normal." "I've never been normal," Elena said. "Neither have we." Anya grinned. "We can be weird together. Is that okay?" Dmitri asked Elena seriously. "A life that's smaller, quieter? No empire, no power, just a family?" Elena thought of the favela, of her mother working 3 jobs, of the day she'd walked into the Constantine mansion as a maid and never imagined she'd walk out as something far more important. "It's perfect," she said. "It's everything." 2 weeks later, Elena stood on a balcony overlooking the Aegean Sea, sunset painting everything gold and rose. Her side still ached where the bullet had torn through, but it was healing pain, the kind that reminded her she was alive. Behind her, she heard Anya's laughter as Dmitri chased her through their small villa in Santorini. No fortress, no guards, just a home. Isabella was on video call, face animated as she described her treatments. "You have to come visit soon. I want to meet this man who turned my big sister into a romantic." "He didn't turn me into anything," Elena protested. "I'm still the same person." "No, you're not. You're happy. Really happy. I can see it." Elena couldn't deny it. Despite everything, the violence, the betrayal, the bullets, she was happy. Deliriously, impossibly happy. Dmitri appeared at her side, sliding arms around her waist from behind, careful of her injury. "Isabella looks good." "She does. The treatments are working." "Good." He pressed a kiss to her temple. "Anya's asking if we can get a dog." "A dog?" "Apparently, normal families have dogs." "She's very insistent." Elena laughed. "A dog it is, then." They stood in comfortable silence, watching the sun sink into the sea. In the distance, a boat cut white lines through blue water. Everything was peaceful, safe, ordinary. "Do you miss it?" Elena asked quietly. "The power? The empire?" Dmitri was quiet for a long moment. "I missed the certainty. The control. Knowing I could eliminate threats before they materialized." He turned her to face him. "But I don't miss the man I was. The one who chose power over love, who let his wife die alone, who almost lost his daughter because he was too focused on building an empire to notice it was built on sand." "You didn't almost lose her. We saved her." "You saved her. And me." His hands framed her face. "You're the bravest person I've ever met, Elena Vasquez. Braver than any soldier, any operative. You walked into a mafia kingpin's house with nothing but determination and somehow changed everything. I had a little help. You had a lot of bullets fired at you. That too." They kissed as the sun completed its descent, painting the sky purple and indigo. When they pulled apart, Anya was watching from the doorway, a knowing smile on her young face. "Are you two going to get married?" she asked bluntly. Elena choked on her laugh. Dmitri just smiled. "Would that be okay with you?" he asked his daughter. "Obviously. Then Elena would be my actual mom instead of just acting like one. Plus, I could be flower girl, and I've always wanted to wear a fancy dress and throw petals." "So romantic," Elena teased, but her heart was full to bursting. "I'm 6. Romance is boring. Cake is important. And presents." Anya's expression turned serious. "But also, I like when Papa smiles now." He didn't smile for a long time. Not since Mama. You make him smile. Elena's throat tightened. You make me smile too, sweetheart. I know. I'm delightful. Anya grinned, then darted back inside. Dmitri shook his head fondly. She's going to be a terror as a teenager. She's going to be amazing. Because of you. Elena turned back to the sea, to the vast possibility of their new life stretching before them like the horizon, distant but reachable, bright with promise. What happens now? She asked. Now? Dmitri pulled her close. Now we live. We heal. We love each other. We give Anya the childhood she deserves. We visit Isabella and watch her beat cancer. We get that dog. We build something real and good and lasting. Just like that? Just like that. He kissed her again, soft and sure. The war is over, Elena. We won. Now we get to enjoy the peace. As if to punctuate his words, Anya's voice called from inside, Papa. Elena. I found a dog shelter online. They have puppies. Can we go tomorrow? Please? Elena laughed. I guess peace is going to be louder than I expected. The best things always are. They walked inside together, into the light and warmth of their small home, into the chaotic normalcy of a family learning how to be together. Behind them, the Mediterranean whispered against ancient shores, eternal and patient. The empire had fallen. The monsters had been defeated. And from the ashes of violence and vengeance, something beautiful had grown, something worth every bullet, every scar, every terrifying moment. Love. Family. Home. The kind worth taking a bullet for. The kind worth building a life around. The kind worth fighting for, dying for, and, most importantly, living for. 6 months later, Elena stood in a small chapel on a hillside overlooking the sea, wearing a simple white dress. No designer labels, no extravagant displays, just silk and lace and the promise of forever. Isabella sat in the front row, healthy and radiant, her hair growing back in soft curls after her final chemotherapy. The doctors had declared her in remission 2 months ago, and watching her sister smile without pain behind her eyes was worth every terrifying moment Elena had endured. Anya stood beside Elena as flower girl, taking her duties with adorable seriousness. She'd insisted on a lavender dress to match the Mediterranean flowers growing wild on the hillside. Ready? Nikolai asked, offering Elena his arm. The gruff man who'd trained her to fight had become something like family. Ready, Elena confirmed. The ceremony was small, just people who mattered. Dmitri's remaining loyal associates who'd chosen quiet retirement. Dr. Petrov, who'd patched Elena up more times than she could count. Maria the cook, who'd followed them to Greece and insisted someone needed to ensure they ate properly. And at the end of the aisle, Dmitri Konstantin waited. He wore a simple gray suit, no weapons concealed, no bodyguards flanking him. Just a man, scarred, complicated, but trying, waiting for the woman who'd changed everything. As Elena walked toward him, she remembered their first meeting. The shattered window, the bullet, the moment she'd chosen to throw herself in front of a stranger's child. She'd had no idea that decision would lead here, to love, to family, to a life she'd never dared imagine. You're beautiful, Dmitri whispered when she reached him. You're not supposed to speak yet, Elena whispered back, smiling. I've never been good at following rules. The ceremony was brief, conducted by a local officiant in English and Greek. The words were traditional, but their meaning was anything but, two people who'd found each other in darkness promising to build something in the light. When the officiant pronounced them married, Dmitri kissed Elena with a tenderness that made her forget they'd ever lived in a world of violence. Anya cheered loudly, throwing her remaining petals in celebration. Isabella wiped tears from her eyes. Even Nikolai smiled. The reception was held at their villa, tables set up in the garden overlooking the sea. No champagne towers or ice sculptures, just good food, simple wine, and people who genuinely cared about each other. As the sun began to set, Dmitri found Elena on the balcony where they'd shared so many quiet moments. "Mrs. Constantine," he said, testing the name. "I kept Vasquez too," Elena reminded him. Elena Vasquez Constantine. It's a mouthful, but it represents both parts of me. The survivor and the protector. Something like that. He pulled her close, and they swayed to music drifting from the garden. "Any regrets?" Dmitri asked. Elena considered seriously. "About the violence?" "Yes." "About the people who got hurt?" "Yes." "About Carlos's betrayal and Victor's manipulation?" "Definitely yes. But I wouldn't change the ending." This, she gestured to the villa, to Anya teaching Isabella a card game at one of the tables. "This is worth every scar." "Even the bullet wounds?" "Especially those. They remind me what matters." "Who matters?" Dimitri's arms tightened around her. "I spent 6 years being dead inside. Going through motions, building power because I didn't know what else to do. You brought me back to life, Elena. You and Anya. You gave me a reason to be human again. You were always human. You just forgot for a while." A generous interpretation. "I prefer to think of it as accurate." Elena pulled back to look at him. "You're not the man you were, Dmitri. That man died on the pier when he chose love over empire. The man you are now? He's someone I'm proud to call my husband." A throat cleared behind them. Anya stood in the doorway, bouncing on her toes. "The cake is ready. And Aunt Isabella says we need to cut it before she eats the whole thing herself." She was joking, probably, but I think we should hurry just in case. They followed her inside, into the warm chaos of celebration. The cake was modest compared to what Dmitri could have afforded in his old life: 3 tiers decorated with fresh flowers, no fondant sculptures or gold leaf. But when Elena and Dmitri cut it together, their hands joined on the knife, it felt like the most extravagant thing in the world. Later, after the guests had left and Anya had finally gone to bed, Elena and Dmitri sat on the balcony under a blanket of stars. "I got you something," Dmitri said, pulling out a small box. "We agreed no expensive gifts." "It's not expensive." "Well, not monetarily." He opened the box to reveal a simple silver bracelet with 3 charms, a flower, a shield, and a star. "The flower is for where we started," he explained. "The bullets flying, you throwing yourself in front of Anya. The shield is for what you became, protector, warrior, the strongest person I know. And the star." He fastened the bracelet around her wrist. "The star is for hope. For the future we're building. For light after darkness." Elena's vision blurred with tears. "I love it. I love you. I love you too. More than I thought I was still capable of loving." He kissed her knuckles, right above the bracelet. "Thank you for taking that bullet. Thank you for staying. Thank you for believing I could be more than the monster I'd become. You were never a monster. Just a man doing terrible things for what he thought were the right reasons." Elena wiped her eyes. We all have darkness. What matters is what we choose to do with it. And what do we choose? We choose this. We choose each other. We choose to build something beautiful from all the broken pieces. They sat in comfortable silence, the sea breeze carrying the scent of lavender and salt. In the distance, lights from fishing boats dotted the water like fallen stars. Inside, Anya dreamed peaceful dreams. In Switzerland, Isabella slept soundly in a facility where she was healing more every day. The empire had fallen. The enemies had been defeated. The bullets had scarred but not destroyed. And from the ruins of violence and vengeance, a family had emerged, imperfect, complicated, but bound by something stronger than blood or obligation. Love. Fierce, protective, transformative love. The kind worth taking a bullet for. The kind worth building a life around. The kind worth fighting for, dying for, and, most importantly, living for. The Foundation's grand opening drew media attention from around the world. The Victoria Foundation's new headquarters in Athens was a modern glass building filled with light and hope, counseling rooms, classrooms, a library, spaces designed for healing. Elena stood at the podium, 9-year-old Anya beside her, addressing the crowd of donors, journalists, and the first group of children who would benefit from the program. 3 years ago, I was a maid cleaning floors and hoping for a miracle to save my sister's life, Elena began, her voice steady. Today, I stand before you as someone who learned that miracles aren't gifts from the universe, they're things we create ourselves through courage, love, and action. She glanced at Dmitri in the front row, holding their 6-month-old son, Matteo. Isabella sat beside him, healthy and radiant, her oncology degree almost complete. She'd decided to dedicate her life to helping others fight the disease she'd conquered. This foundation exists because a little girl deserved protection, Elena continued, squeezing Anya's hand. Because children caught in violence deserve a chance to heal and thrive. Because families like mine, who came from nothing, deserve opportunities. And because sometimes, taking a risk, even a dangerous one, is the only way to change everything. Anya stepped forward to cut the ribbon, her smile bright and confident. The little girl who'd been so guarded and lonely now radiated joy. After the ceremony, as the sun set over Athens, the family gathered on the Foundation's rooftop terrace. "Mama, can I hold Matteo?" Anya asked. She'd started calling Elena Mama a year ago, tentatively at first, then with growing confidence when Elena had cried happy tears and said it was the greatest honor of her life. Carefully, Elena said, helping her settle the baby in her lap. Anya cooed at her little brother, who grabbed her finger with surprising strength. "He's going to be strong like you. A protector. Or maybe he'll be an artist," Dmitri suggested. "Or a teacher. Or anything he wants to be. That's the gift of peace, choices." "I still want to be a detective when I grow up," Anya announced. "So I can protect people like you and Mama protected me." "You can be anything you want," Elena assured her. "But you don't have to be a protector just because that's what we were. You get to choose your own path." "I know. But I choose this. Because you taught me that the strongest thing we can do is protect people who can't protect themselves." Anya's dark eyes, so like her father's, were serious. "That's not just a job. It's who we are." Dmitri met Elena's gaze over their children's heads, and in that look was everything they'd survived, everything they'd built, everything they'd become. "She's right," he said softly. "That is who we are. A family of protectors. A family that chose love over fear, hope over vengeance, life over survival." As the stars emerged over Athens, For generations of survival and strength gathered close, Isabella, the fighter who'd conquered cancer, Elena, the protector who'd taken bullets for strangers, Dmitri, the reformed kingpin who'd chosen family over empire, Anya, the brilliant child learning to trust and love, and baby Matteo, born into peace his parents had fought to create. Elena thought about the journey that had brought them here. From the favelas of Sao Paulo to blood-stained marble floors, from invisible maid to woman who'd faced down killers and emerged victorious. She'd taken bullets, confronted betrayal, and learned that sometimes the most courageous thing you could do was trust someone with your heart. Do you think we'll ever really escape it? Elena had asked Dmitri on their wedding night. The violence, the memories, who we had to become to survive. No, he'd said honestly. Those scars are part of us now. But scars are just proof that we survived. That we healed. That we're still here, still fighting, still loving. We wear our survival. And we teach Anya that strength isn't about never being wounded, it's about healing and continuing anyway. Now, 3 years later, standing on this rooftop with her family gathered close, Elena understood what he'd meant. The scars on her shoulder, 2 bullet wounds that should have killed her, were badges of honor. Proof that she'd chosen love over safety, courage over fear, family over self-preservation. What are you thinking about? Dmitri asked, moving to stand beside her as Anya entertained Matteo and Isabella chatted with foundation staff. That I'd do it all again, Elena said. Every terrifying moment. Every bullet. Every betrayal. Because it led here. To a rooftop in Athens? To a family worth dying for. Worth living for. Dmitri pulled her close, and they watched the sun complete its descent over the ancient city. You know what the best part is? What? We get to do this every day. Wake up, choose each other, choose our children, choose love. No empires to defend. No enemies to fight. Just life. Just life, Elena echoed, smiling. Anya's voice interrupted their moment. Mama. Papa. Matteo smiled at me. A real smile, not just gas. They laughed and moved to join their children, this family forged in fire but tempered by love. The empire had fallen. The monsters had been defeated. The bullets had scarred but not destroyed. And from the ruins of violence and vengeance, a legacy had emerged, imperfect, complicated, but bound by something stronger than blood or obligation. Love. Fierce, protective, transformative love. The kind worth taking a bullet for. The kind worth building a life around. The kind worth fighting for, dying for, and, most importantly, living for. Elena looked at her family, her impossible, beautiful family, and smiled. She'd taken a bullet for a mafia billionaire's daughter, and love had sparked instantly. But the real story wasn't about that single moment of courage. It was about every moment after. Every choice to stay. Every decision to fight. Every morning waking up and choosing love over fear. That was the real miracle. And it was just beginning. So, was it worth taking that bullet? What would you fight for? What sacrifice would you make for the ones you love? Share your thoughts below. Your story might inspire someone else to find their courage. If Elena's courage touched your heart, the next story will go even deeper. More twists. More tears. More love found in the darkest places. Subscribe now so you never miss a story that could change how you see courage, love, and redemption. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the best stories are still to come. The next journey begins soon. Will you be there?